Hello everyone, and welcome back to some Entropy Effect. Today I'll be doing a 100 Transcendence run on Lambda. So something unique to Lambda that I like to use is Strong Momentum. After using a skill, basic attack damage is increased by 50% for 3 seconds. Lambda can weave back and forth between her skills and attacks pretty easily, and she can keep this buff up, so I like using it. The rest of this stuff is standard to what I've used in other runs. And then again, I'm running Perennial instead of Mixture Enhancement and Mixture Replenishment, because I find Mixture Enhancement and Replenishment to be a little overpowered. And if I'm going to run 100 Transcendence, I might as well do it without abusing certain things. Those things and Ragna healing. From Ragna's second legacy skill here is way too overpowered in my opinion. With Ragna's second legacy skill alone, you can tank through a lot of the boss fights, as long as you're dealing enough hits to heal fast enough. So for Legacy Tactics, I took Frost with Frost Burst for attacks, and then Chain Lightning on skills. Chain Lightning is going to be useful throughout the entire run. Early game, I can just kind of weave my skill in between my attacks every so often. Ooh, this is a very important upgrade, so I'm glad to see it early. It's not going to do a whole lot right now, but it will pair well with other attacks that I want to get. I should have taken the light space there. I could have actually used it. And now I get stuck with Toxin instead. But it's fine. So I think one of the common thing that people say is that Lambda has a weak early game. But if you get used to playing the character enough, that's not really too true. Now I got fire too. I didn't need any of those other options, so it doesn't really matter. This'll just be more money I can use for shops. The only tactics I really want are light and ice for this run, but not to the point of where I'm running any chance boost for them. So with Lambda's early game, there's two things I would recommend trying to get used to, and that's kind of what I talked about before, of just occasionally weaving your skills into your other attacks, instead of just like pressing the skill 3 times in a row and using a bunch of your MP up at once. You don't need to cast the skill a whole bunch of times, you just need to cast it occasionally. And then the other thing is getting used to how her passive works. I don't really care about the rest stage too much, but getting rid of debuffs isn't that bad. I really wish it would have taken the fewer rewards instead of the other two, but it's fine. Ah, that is not good to see. Having 2 rest spaces in a row just takes away a lot of my early game power, which early game is where I need the most power. I need to be scaling up quickly as Lambda, I mean. But yeah, the other thing to get used to with Lambda is how her passive works. It says that whenever you make an enemy fall, you recover MP, but it doesn't tell you that they need to fall from a certain height before they start to actually give MP back. So just hitting an enemy into the air with like your skill or your dash attack isn't enough. You need to do either multiple dash attacks, multiple hits of the skill, or a combination of the two. Like dash attack into skill will knock them high enough. That's the most common one that I do. And that'll really allow you to go through early stages without ever running out of MP. Once you get used to those things, she becomes a lot stronger early on, at least when it comes to normal rooms. Boss fights are still going to be pretty finicky if you don't have the right stuff for her yet. The other option you have for early game is to just spam low to the ground jump attacks. But I don't really enjoy doing that constantly. This wouldn't be too bad, but I kind of need to prioritize a couple of other things right now. This wouldn't be too bad as well. I might just pick it up so I don't waste too many refreshes. Hopefully I'll get another potential or two from here, because I need a better attacking tool. Okay, perfect. We got the Heavy Strike one. Heavy Strike and her up attacks both become pretty good once you get the Universal Enhancement where more blades are attacking. Before that, they're not that great. Also, to explain how the shops work in this high entropy stuff is that a lot of the stuff is hidden, but you can determine what it is based on its positioning and its cost. So the last slot here will always be a buff. These two options will always be something between healing, debuff removal, and mixture. So the heal is also 150, and then mixtures are 300. Debuff removal is also 150, if I remember right. These two slots are always going to be potential HP, MP increase, tactic ascension tactics, or debuff removal can show up here too for some reason. The main thing that I look out for is 150 cost, because 150 cost will either be HP, MP, or potentials. The main thing I always want is just the most amount of potentials possible, but I will buy other stuff if they're on discount, and I will buy buffs if I have a decent amount of money saved up as well. Legacy Flash is something I do want to build into, so picking it up for free here is pretty nice. And then I'll grab one more buff before we go. This boss fight's going to be a little bit annoying without quite a proper DPS setup or having like triple dash for the safety. I mainly just have to pick away at him with the heavy attacks. Oh, his hitbox was still active. I should have known that it would be, but I thought I would be in a safe space standing behind him like that. I'm kind of surprised that hit me too. I was probably just barely at the edge of the range for it. Okay, pretty rough first boss fight, but hopefully we can come back from it. Triple jump will be nice if we can get into another hidden effect for it, so I guess I'll pick it up for now. The main thing I need right now is something like Corsair Saber to upgrade the Heavy Strike more, or Triple Dash just for safety. Also, I'm not going to take Covenant or Black Market or anything. That's something I'm doing for all of the 100 Transcendence runs. That way all the runs are consistent to each other, and they show off the actual character and tactics power. They don't just get a huge damage boost from one of those, or get like a huge stacking in HP increase. I don't really care about any of the blade stuff right now either, so a lot of the tactics throughout this run are just going to go into selling, unless they're ice tactics or light tactics. Most of my DPS is coming through Frostburst this run, so being able to passing up on other tactics isn't really something that's going to hurt me DPS-wise. My DPS will increase a lot if I can get into the right Holy Mark upgrade, but otherwise, the rest of the tactics are just going to be for utility. Like, the ice spikes will be helpful for clearing out the normal rooms and then stacking cold on bosses as well, but they're not going to be a huge DPS increase or loss either way. Okay, good. I was just about to say I'm hoping I can see a couple more potential spaces throughout this next area before I get to the next boss fight, is what I mean. If I can just get a couple more potentials, or a couple more good potentials, then I think the run will be pretty well off. That's not really too important, but I think I'll take it just because I'm pretty low on rerolls, and this upgrade isn't bad for. It helps out with the normal rooms. I don't think it does a whole lot against most of the boss fights because the blades end up getting too spread out unless you have the boss in a corner or something. But it does help to have the extra AoE for clearing out the normal spaces. These types of rooms are really annoying when you don't have triple dash yet. These smaller, like, this one isn't nearly as bad as some of the other corridor stages, but being in a restricted area with a lot of those enemies that explode is pretty annoying to deal with without triple dash. That's not really great. HP is not a bad thing, but I would have much rather had the MP if I had to choose between the two, or I would have much more ideally seen exchange points or potential. I think we'll be okay, though. The three main things I want are Corsair Saber, since it'll upgrade Heavy Strike, and then I want Triple Dash, obviously. That's something I always want every run. And then the other thing I'm missing out on is Luminous Slave right now. Luminous Slave is also something I'll mostly be using for its hidden effect early on, until it can get upgraded enough. This honestly isn't that bad either. We'll just go ahead and take it, I guess. This might be a little annoying. Unless some of the enemies keep spawning outside like that, I'll definitely take that. Okay, that wasn't that bad. There is another version where you go into a corridor similar to that. It might even be the same layout, but it's a bunch of enemies that spawn in there. Don't really care about these too much. but I don't want to waste rerolls on them. I will take Flash Enhancement, because that will be useful for if we get into Holy Marks energies. So one thing you can keep an eye out for is when you're on stage 8, or room 8 of each stage, the first space will always be an exchange space, even if it's a hidden space. Them being hidden doesn't randomize what's actually there, it just hides it from you. So if you know what the space is going to be, then you can select it every time. Sword Summoner EX can be pretty good. I really prefer the Airborne version. I'm gonna go ahead and reroll for now. Dash dealing damage isn't bad, especially if we can get it with the triple dash. And then we can pick up the Holy Marks as well. I wouldn't have enough, if I reroll now, I wouldn't have enough to buy another potential unless it was on sale. But I think I'm going to... Yeah, I'm going to buy the buff, I'm going to reroll, and then I'm going to see what's on sale. That didn't end up being that worth it, but if I got something better on sale, it would have. But we're still pretty much just stuck on Heavy Strike for damage, and that's fine, because Heavy Strike can do a lot of damage on its own. If we had the hidden effect from Corsair Saber, then the Heavy Strike would be hitting much harder than it is now. But even now, it does plenty of damage. I don't really like using Calamity Sword that much. It's not bad, but it's a lot less MP efficient than just using something like Luminous Slave or her base skill. If I was on lower entropy settings where I could get more potentials, then I wouldn't be as opposed to taking the Calamity Sword, but I don't really like taking it in high, or really high entropy stuff. So the other guaranteed rule that you'll always have is that at the first selection of stages 2, 3, and 4, the top selection will always be a Trial, a Black Market, or a Covenant. The order that they appear in is always random, but they always appear at the first stage, or the first room selection. And I believe now that I've gotten the first tactic of every type, so at the bottom right, what I mean is I have the attack slot, the skill slot, and etc. all filled out with at least one tactic. I think the game will only show light and... hang on a second. These are not the ones I want. I really want the ice spikes where they penetrate, but I don't want to waste a refresh on it. So we'll just take the higher damage ones. But yeah, now that I have at least one tactic of every slot, it should only show me the element types that I have. What do we want to do here? I think we just go here. I always thought you needed up to tier 2 in every slot, because if you only have tier 1s, you can still exchange stuff. But I don't know, maybe it's something that they changed at some point. Because based on some of my other runs, it seems like as soon as I get tier 1 every slot, it just starts giving me the elements that I have. But that's not something I've really, like, hard confirmed yet. It might be something that they changed during the patch, where they overhauled a lot of the space selection stuff. Oh, come on. As soon as I go back to get that last enemy, it dies to a portal. So now that we've gotten the Luminous Slaves, they're going to be useful as extra damage themselves, but for now, a lot of their usage is going to be from the hidden effect between Luminous Slave and Triple Jump. Every time I jump with my Double Jump or Triple Jump now, they spawn their own Luminous Slave portal, which only shoots once, but does the same damage as the portals themselves. So you can see they're doing a high amount on their own. I think they're doing 1,500, yeah. So that's quite a lot of damage just for jumping. And then one of the main reasons we took Chain Lightning on skills is that these jump portals also count as a skill. So they're applying the Chain Lightning automatically for me all the time. There's a lot of nice things you can do with the fact that her jump portals count as a skill hit. It won't trigger things like Light Spears, because Light Spears need to have an actual activated skill, like the skill button itself. But it will trigger things that are on hit, like skill Poison Ring, skill Chain Lightning, and skill Frost, Rend, that type of thing. Ideally, what we want to see for Luminous Slave now is the first upgrade where there can be multiple portals, but any upgrade for it is fine to get. That's not really too good. As long as we get a potential here, then it's fine. And we'll probably start going into Sword Summoner EX as well. I still do need Triple Dash, but I don't really have the luxury of being able to reroll to it. So one little trick you can do is, you can see I was doing it there for a while. An easy way to trigger the double jump and triple jump is to drop through a platform and then double jump quickly and land back on the platform. If you do it with like perfect spacing and timing, you can get the jump portals out very quickly. There's another way to spam them pretty quick too, but it involves having your jump attack resets. I also I'm not too familiar with that method. I don't use it too often personally. I just know that it's used in the Lambda speedruns. I guess we'll go to... We don't really need ice upgrades at this point. I wasn't paying attention. I should have known that that top space was an exchange space, but I just was not paying attention to the stage counter. Oh. I felt like I was gonna sneeze there, but then it just went away. Hopefully that doesn't mean that it's gonna come back up at a random time. Arakune could actually be a bit dangerous without triple dash. I should probably just actually focus during the fight. I got the stun there, but... Okay, maybe now I do have enough damage. Still gonna be close. Yep. I should've... If I would've jumped there, that would've reached him. I tried to jump, but I either inputted it too late, or it just didn't read my input. Yeah, I didn't think as soon as I got the stun, I would quite have the DPS to finish him off before he became active again, even with the Gen freeze. Not having Corsair Saber for the heavy strike upgrade is really cutting down my DPS. And then the other thing I need is the upgrade for having multiple Luminous Slaves down. Lambda is a character I consider to be very high tier, like top 4 in the game, top 5 in the game, somewhere around there. But she is a character that also gets hit pretty heavily by the reduced selections and reduced potential amounts, because she does need some pretty big setups in terms of combinations to do her max DPS. Like, her Heavy Strike build is extremely, extremely powerful, but you need the Heavy Strike, you need Corsair Saber for the hidden effect, and then you need your Universal for more attacks as well. Or more blades on attacks is what I mean. Okay, cool, so Stable Mark is one thing we want to look for. And then we'll grab Ice Spike Respawn as well, why not? Yeah, I want to finish out the light if I can. So seeing a light here isn't a bad thing. Stable Mark is something I just kind of found out about recently. I thought it worked a lot differently than it actually does. Basically what Stable Mark does is it turns the Holy Mark into a timed duration thing. Normally the Holy Marks will break in one hit, but with Stable Mark, the mark will last a couple seconds, and then every time you hit that enemy, then they will be taking the Holy Mark damage. It's a lot of reduced damage. It's like 40% at blue rank right now. But it's still much, much higher DPS than it would be if you were trying to put the mark on, then break it, and then put the mark back on again. Though some characters can... Characters like Lambda, and Mai, and Hakumen that deal damage with their dash can automatically apply the marks and detonate them pretty rapidly. But in most cases, I think Stable Mark's just gonna end up being way higher DPS. And then the other thing I wanted to look for, a lot of the reason why I went into Holy in the first place, too, is for Mark Flash. Enemies inflicted with a Holy Mark have a chance to trigger Flash when they attack or take a hit. Flash makes it where enemies will just completely miss their attacks and do no damage while they're debuffed with it. So it's a very powerful safety tool. Bosses do have a pretty long cooldown on... As soon as one flash expires, they can't have another flash applied for... I don't remember the exact amount of time it was. I want to say it's somewhere between 5 and 10 seconds, but I don't remember exactly. But yeah, they can't just be chain flashed back to back, but having a boss miss any attack on you is something that could make or break the run. I don't really care about Mark Resonance. Mark Resonance is something that is really nice to have early on in the run, but now when I have more AoE damage, it doesn't matter as much. I'm starting to get a little bit worried, though. Damage-wise, we're pretty good, but we're still missing a couple of the main DPS tools for bossing is going to be the problem. And then on top of that, I don't have Triple Dash, which is one of the best defensive tools for bossing as well. So the next boss fight could end up pretty rough if we don't start getting something together pretty soon. My DPS looks perfectly fine when I'm just fighting normal enemies, but the bosses on Transcendence scale very high in HP, especially as it gets close to the end of the run. We should be getting pretty close to the point of where I don't have a whole lot of potentials left to even get in the pool of potentials, so hopefully we can get that soon. I still have all the basic attack potentials, which there's 3 there, I believe. And then, what else do I have? Overexhaust on Universal, all the Corsair Saber, 2 of these, and there's a lot more in the pool than I originally thought. This isn't bad. I'm just gonna refresh, it doesn't really matter too much. I should have just taken the first one. I really don't care about overexhausting NP at all. Either way, it's not really that big of a loss, though. Having the bonus attacks on the skills are nice for normal rooms again, but on bosses, they're not quite as useful. I mentioned it before, but there's kind of a method of spamming the jump portals if you have your attack resets. And I think just the way it works is you jump, you do an attack pretty low to the ground like this, and then you jump again a second time and do an attack. As soon as you do your attack, it kind of cuts your jumping momentum, so you don't keep going higher in the air. And then you can just cancel it into another jump attack to get both of the portals that way, without having to jump as high in the air. It's, like I said, it's not something I've practiced, but it's something if you get used to doing properly, you can spam out the jump portals pretty quickly. I know it's something that the speedrun makes use of. We don't really have a whole lot of money for the shop, but the event's probably not going to do anything that good for me. and neither will the light space at this point, so I'm just gonna hope for a good discount somewhere, or hope I get a potential here. It could be either one of these, though. That's not what I want. I don't think it matters too much what I pick up here. And I don't even have enough money for the extra mixture. Well, this could be a little sketchy. We'll see what we can do. And I can't phase skip either. So normally if I could put up more portals, I can stick portals up there in the air at a certain height, and they will actually shoot down Nan from midair. I don't know why it's not hitting her right now. It was firing, but it wasn't hitting her. So now you can see she's actually taking damage. Nan isn't actually, like, off-screen or invulnerable during that. She's just very, very high up in the air. But if you have something that can reach her, you can damage her, and you can even knock her into stun while she's up there. I'm pretty sure there's an achievement for it, too. I probably shouldn't have done that, actually. Let's just see something real quick. I wanted to see how much fall damage she would take after that. I think she took 9,000. Yeah, if you didn't know, this game actually has fall damage. It doesn't come into play that often, but it does exist. Now we're in a very sketchy situation. I still am lacking one or two potentials that I really need, and I'm very much lacking in health now. I need to perfect clear through a stage or two to get healing. That might be a little bit more difficult, though, without triple dash. It's honestly my own fault for relying so much on triple dash in the first place, but it is one point of playing 100 Entropy that I just don't really enjoy. I don't enjoy a whole lot of having the limited potential selections. It is fun in some situations where I end up putting together different builds that I want to, but it's not having a big quality of life thing like triple dash throughout the entire run is something that I find a little bit more annoying. Okay, so there's one perfect clear down. We can go to the event now for free. Don't really care about this stuff, but take it, I guess. It'd be funny if the event spaces counted as like a perfect clear for the healing crystal, but unfortunately it doesn't. You only get the perfect clear if you go through an actual combat stage or a boss fight. Man, I just realized there's that was floating mine too. I cannot do Transcendence floating mine to get an extra potential. That boss is just completely insane unless they fixed it in Transcendence. Something seems very wrong with its damage scaling. When it does the laser attacks, they can just almost instant kill you. They do way too much damage per hit for how fast they attack. Yeah, I can't do that. That is really annoying. I don't think I can do Transcendence Recce either. I think, ideally, hopefully I perfect cleared this one, get enough money and HP. That way I can go to the exchange space and then go to the boss afterwards. I need to not eat up too much time, though I do have 8 minutes left, so it's not that big of a deal. I want probably around a 5-minute buffer for Susano. I just took damage. Well, no heal for this room now. I could also possibly get a... I could get a discount on healing, or I could just buy a heal from the shop. I probably do have the time to run through one more normal room too. Maybe get an event that heals me. No, of course not. Actually, yeah. I don't really care about the debuff, do I? No. Chance high HP isn't gonna even affect the boss fight. It only affects normal enemies, and normal enemies I don't really care if they're tanky now. Let me think for a second. I think it'll be okay running through one more normal room. It's not gonna take that long on the timer, and ideally I get a heal out of it. I do at least get some more exchange points from here too. Oh, that was almost really bad. Luckily I reacted in time to dodge there. The down attack from midair pushes backwards a little bit, so I almost threw myself straight into the trap. This is a real doozy of a room, but we're fine. Lambda's room clearing gets really, really insane once you get some of her upgrades. And now we're almost up to full HP again. So let's go for the exchange space. Hopefully I get a potential here that I actually need. That's not what I want to see. Come on, game. I can't even reroll at this point, because I won't have 150. I can go for the discount, but I think I'd rather just save my money for the next shop. There'll be a guarantee of 3 shops. So I can go into the max HP, get a little bit more money through here. I don't think I'll make too much money this way, though. Like I said before, you do make some money just from killing enemies, but a majority of the money comes from actual exchange space, or exchange point spaces, I mean. This music is so unfitting for what's going on right now, but it's okay. I'll probably have to change the song before I go into the Susano fight. Okay, more exchange points. Like I said before, I really don't want my timer to go below 5 minutes. Or I want to be at somewhere around 5 minutes when I go into Susano. Honestly, it's... 5 minutes might... It's pretty safe usually, but with me lacking two major parts of my DPS, hopefully 5 minutes is still enough. It should be. Oh, that was almost a really dumb thing I just did. Luckily, I realized in time and I dashed out of the attack. Okay, so I don't think I can afford to take another combat space. I'll just have to go into the exchange and then go into the boss fight. This is probably my best option for now. Having the 2 extra ice spikes would be nice, I guess, but I'll take the extra safety. That's not in. We got a potential, but it's not the ones I need. I could either take the buff here, or I'm just gonna reroll, see what's on discount. This should be a mixture, so I guess I'll take it. If it was just gonna be a heal, I would have taken the buff here. The reason I could tell is because it was for 30 cost, which would be 300 normally. 300 is the mixture, 150 is either debuff or the 60% heal. Alright, so I guess it's Susano time. Let me pull up a specific song for the fight. And then I'm just going to not do any more commentary and completely focus on the fight. Well, that was interesting. I don't know if I've ever killed him in the middle of it like that. Or in the middle of his attack animation is what I mean. Thought he was using his other move. Okay, well, I think we're probably cooked, but we'll give it our best shot. Uh-oh. Oh my god. I did it! Oh, I don't think I've ever had a closer run than that in my life. No triple dash, no multiple portal upgrade, no fully upgraded dash, or no fully upgraded heavy attack, and we still got it. Just barely. Whew. Obviously that is, just a major issue of my own, not learning the bosses properly, because I'm always used to abusing triple dash, but like I said before, that is also just a very annoying part of 100 Entropy. You can just get so unlucky to the point of where you don't have a lot of the major tools that you need by the end of the run. Like I said, I think being forced into different builds is a fun aspect of things, but then when you get to the point where, like I said, you just don't have the tools you want at the end of the run because you've gotten so unlucky, usually the luck isn't quite that bad, though, so it's not a big thing. Whew. Anyways, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.